Good day, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. Now, this is going to be a lot different from what I usually do, but here it is, the Minenautica mod. It's fairly self-explanatory. It's an implementation of Subnautica content into Minecraft. Now, this is a dimension mod, so quick warning, you're not really going to be finding anything new in your oceans except for one thing, which I'll be going over soon. Now, I am also partially doing this mod review because A, Subnautica is one of my favorite games of all time, and B, they released one of their final updates for the game not long ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and review this mod here. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and... oh, there we are. I'm sorry. So, the only thing you're going to be finding in your world, apart from the various ores, is the warper. And if you've played Subnautica, you'll know that these guys were built by the precursors. A little bit of a spoiler alert. To hunt down, well, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but you will find these guys every now and then. I'm going to push this guy into the water so I don't have to deal with the drowning noises or suffocating noises for when it runs out of air. So they're going to run around. These guys are hostile, and they'll drop two things, the powder and the warper plates. Now, the warper powder is used for making the flint and steel equivalent for getting into the Subnautica dimension. The warper plate is used for crafting the respective warper blocks, as you can see in the corner right here, as well as the portal frame. Now, I do find it interesting in that we don't find any, like, precursor ruins, like in the overworld, because I think it would make a little bit more sense if it was, if the blocks used to access the dimension were made out of precursor material, but that's okay. So, I'm just going to go ahead and brush through some of this to give you an idea of some of the content in here. I really like the textures. Oh my goodness, I need to slow down. So, yeah, you got your survival knife and everything. And you even got your diving suit, which I believe this one is for the radiation. I'll have to refresh my memory. But that said and done, I believe... oh yeah, before I go inside the dimension, I'll list off the ores that you'll find in this dimension. You will find magnetite, titanium, lithium, uranium, copper, salt, quartz, and I believe silver. You can find all of these in the Subnautica dimension as well through either the harvest nodes or just straight up digging. Now, I will say there is not too much information on this mod, and I will not be going over crafting recipes because, well, I've just noticed that people don't really care for crafting recipe parts of mod reviews, and frankly, I'm very inclined to agree. And also, it uses its own crafting system, the Fabricator, which you all know that one, if you played Subnautica. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link to their wiki with the crafting recipes in the description, or probably in a comment or something. But that said and done, without further ado, let's boot up the portal and head inside. And here we are in the Subnautica dimension itself. And if I may say, it's quite pretty. And honestly, very accurate, especially the safe shallows. They have done a fantastic job with the textures of model in this mod. But before we get carried away in that, let's address this first. So these are all your ores, and oh my, pardon the lag there, but these are all your ores. These can also appear in the overworld, so you have uranium, silver, titanium, copper, lithium, magnetite, I believe, and quartz. And you also have salt right there. And looking at these are the, well, artificial blocks in the mod. And their detail is incredible. And here we have the Fabricator. As you can see, I got eggs here ready to showcase. But just look at these models. It's amazing. And an interesting thing with the ladder. Put a ladder on top of another, and it is independent of having to work on another block, unlike normal ladders. So you can keep going, and you get this really cool effect right here. Very well done. Something worthy of note is that these shelves, they don't exactly like the idea of being put free from a wall. And don't bother placing the supply crates. I've tried placing them. They don't like the idea very much either. So here we got the locker and the bed, along with the desk and one of the chairs. And here we have our artificial blocks and our two different types of lights. Let's get on with the fun part, exploring the dimension itself. And you're going to have to excuse the lag. This is a particularly laggy mod, both on the not so much as on the client as it is the server side. But here we have the grassy plateau, the kelp forest, and the safe shallows. Now, yes, they do have plans to add all the big crazy monsters like the Reaper Leviathan and the Stalker. But first they're going to take care of the more, not so hostile creatures first. So let's get right in. And, oh my gosh, hang on, let me, I know you guys are not going to stand that lag very well, so let's go ahead and kill all of this extra lag off. There we go. Now, as I said, moving on to the fish. Here we have the bladderfish. Very nice. As you can see, they're also a bit big. And if I go ahead and take care of that, just right-click them, and you can pick up these fish, and you can cook them in the fabricator. You also have, of course, the peeper, the signature fish in Minecraft, and yes, they'll actually run away from you, sneaky little buggers. And they're quite fast, too. Don't know what those guys are doing out there, being all comatose, whatnot. We have the hoopfish. Very nice models on these. The spinefish, the blood kelp zone counterpart, which I don't believe is in-game just yet. The holefish, cute little thing. The boomerang, I haven't seen much of this guy. And I'm not sure where the holefish in this mod spawns. I actually keep forgetting on where those guys spawn in the actual game itself. We have the lava variant. Very neat. The Gary fish, that looks like a mix between Gary the Snail and Jar Jar Binks. The hover, quote-unquote, fish, or as I personally call it, the fly-hacking frog, quite affectionately. And yeah, they don't have custom sounds in, at least not yet. So let's get rid of this crap and move on to this, just to show them off. Here we have the eye, kind of small. The lava eye, the spadefish, which is kind of like a stinger and a flounder had a weird day together. The Reginald, the mutant sunfish. The floater, I'll actually go to a wild group of these things. And of course, the warpers themselves. I'm not sure if they spawn in this dimension though. Let's go ahead and clear out the inventory, and I'm going to show something extra. There is things like the first aid kit and survival knife. However, interestingly enough, this mod also includes a set of tools and armors that are not in the usual game. For example, the Warper helmet and the titanium chestplate. Now, I don't know how much protection these things give you because there's not too much information on the mod out right now. And there's also no protection values listed. So, yeah, we're just going to have to stick with that for now. But here we have the various foods and all of the various plants, including the stingers. In fact, I'm going to be showing those very shortly. So let's go ahead and explore these this neat little dimension, hopefully without lagging much more. And let's see if we can find a cave with drooping stingers. And as you can see, we have our little harvesting nodes right here for the rocks and the salt. Very, very accurate. The attention to detail in this mod is quite good. So I may end up jump cutting to the point where I find a cave. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. And we are back now that I've found a cave. I just want to go over something first. So, you know how there's 2 moons in Subnautica? Yeah. that replaces the normal moon in Minecraft in this dimension. How cool is that? Now, I feel it's worthy a note. If I were to say, go ahead and type in time set blah blah blah, or just a bunch of numbers, it would behave like you were in the overworld. And so if I were to say time set 0, it would be morning. So don't worry about not being able to change the time in this dimension. Now, with the awesome textures aside, let's go down and take a look at this neat little cave. Now, there's not too terribly many caves in this. In fact, they're quite uncommon, except for the giant core-like structures. And as you can see, the entrance is guarded by drooping stingers. And if you have encountered any of these guys, you know the consequences. For those who haven't encountered any of these things, or doesn't even know what Subnautica is, if you've been hiding under a rock, these little things will give you a nasty amount of poison if you come in contact with them. They're essentially jellyfish, but not jellyfish, because, you know, reasons. Let's go ahead inside, and it's actually pretty cool in here. The drooping stingers do make a very nice decoration block, I will say that much. And notice how the watercolor changes every time I switch between the biomes. Now, this isn't very evident in the daytime, but is most prominent at nighttime. So I'm going to go ahead and check out if there's any caverns in the grassy plateaus, and I think we'll end up calling this review a day. Even then, though, I might just call it a day early and go explore myself. In any case, this is a spectacular, very accurate mod to one of my favorite games of all time. And, well, you guys have probably seen the video I posted earlier. Not glad about it. I'm just going to say that much, but yeah. So definitely give the people who made this a thumbs up. And I will say they are currently hosting a build competition for the Aurora. And personally, I'm going to look at entering myself. If any of you guys want to enter, that's fine. Just be sure to look at the rules. And with all that said and done, I think this concludes our review. So I will see you next time, folks. Peace out.